It gives me great pleasure to introduce the introducer here. As many of you know, there are twin strands that are very exciting in our world of space now. One is absolutely the vision for space exploration, broadly speaking, NASA's plans to go beyond low Earth orbit with humans. And then, of course, there's the entrepreneurial sector and the suborbital and orbital commercial space transportation area. To introduce our next speaker, I'm going to call up a gentleman who will be introducing Mr. Tai, and that's Brett Alexander, who's the president of the Personal Spaceflight Federation, a newly formed group to advocate and represent many of these commercial space transportation companies. Brett has a long experience inside the federal government, having worked at the White House and also in commercial ventures. As such, he really brings an enormous amount of experience to this. So please join me in welcoming Brett Alexander.
Thank you, George. It's good to be with you today. I have the honor and privilege of introducing Alex Tai, the COO of Virgin Galactic. And as you've read his bio in the program, you know that, as it says, he is the rock star of the entrepreneurial space community. And that was reinforced as I was standing up here chatting with him before this talk, and a whole host of folks came up and looking for his autograph and wanting to talk to him and take pictures with him. So he definitely uses that charming British accent to win over the American public and spacefaring public. But for his real bio, Alex is a pilot was a pilot in the Royal Air Force, now a Virgin Atlantic 747 pilot. He has over 10,000 hours flying. He holds 11 world records, including the fastest eastbound circumnavigation of the globe, the fastest westbound, as well as the fastest crossing of Australia, and 8 additional records. He's been the personal pilot in the past to Sir Richard Branson, who then liked what he saw and got him involved in some special projects. One of those special projects, as you know, is Virgin Galactic, and Alex has been the driving force behind that from its creation. He was there for Spaceship One, and he is now a board member of the spaceship company, which is building Spaceship Two, along with both Virgin and Scale. He plans to be the first pilot of the first commercial Virgin Galactic flight to space, hopefully very near in the future, and hopefully you can tell us more about when that will be. In addition to his galactic duties, he also, and Virgin Atlantic pilot duties, he's also the chairman of the Personal Spaceflight Federation. And the Personal Spaceflight Federation is the trade association of organizations, companies, spaceports that are looking to further commercial human spaceflight. So those companies include Galactic, Scale Composites, X-Core, Armadillo Aerospace, spaceport sites like New Mexico Spaceport America, Oklahoma Spaceport, Mojave Spaceport, another company that I'm with, Transformational Space Corporation, or T-Space, and a whole host of different organizations working to further commercial human spaceflight. So without further ado, please welcome Alex Tai, COO of Virgin Galactic.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I was really worried about that. Brett's a good friend of mine, and I didn't know quite what I was going to get lined up for. George is also a very good friend of mine, so I thought they were plotting something. Look, it's a real pleasure to be here amongst these friends here, and many of the people in the spaceflight community who are or have welcomed Virgin Galactic to the table with open arms. I'm going to start. I'm going to give us a short presentation today and show you some fun images. Talk to you a little bit about the experience of Virgin Galactic today, then I'll throw open the floor to any questions that you may have. But I'd like to just reflect, first of all, on some of the comments that Mike Coates was talking about before, and maybe some of the questions that came from the audience. You see here, I think we've got, we're going to have to try and coordinate the slides, this isn't connected to that, so I'll try and look at the reflections at the back here. But on the left-hand side of the screen here, we have now, one of the things about Virgin Galactic, part of the Virgin group of companies, is that we're very good at self-promotion, because we haven't got a statute that says we're not allowed to self-promote. So we actually are able to shoot well above our weight. And here on the left-hand side, we employed a guy called Philippe Starck, who's he's a fantastic French guy that designed all sorts of wonderful things, from hotels through boats and stuff like that. And he really, really wants to go to space. So he said, look, I'll come on board and I'll do this stuff for free if you take me. In fact, I'll pay. So it seemed like a good plan. And he came up with our design logo, the Virgin Iris. And then on the left-hand side, you hear what's called the DNA of flight. And this is the history of flight, just represented, and you find this on you will find this on our spaceships and a lot of our promotional material. And starting at the bottom left-hand side there, you've got Icarus going up through the Wright brothers' Wright Flyer, and then the Spirit of St. Louis, and the X-1 and the 747, and then Apollo, and then Spaceship One. A little bit of a route through history. Now, first of all, most of these things started here in the States, which is incredible, because the history of flight is pretty much here in the States. It says an awful lot about this country. And also, the people we're following, I won't talk about standing on the shoulders of giants, but it's absolutely true. And the Apollo, that is below Spaceship One, is the reason we're here. These people blazed the path for us. And Mike, bless him, he blazed the path for me onto this stage today, telling you about the things that this country has done in space in the past, the things that human endeavour have led us to do. But we are here because of people like NASA. NASA are doing an incredibly brilliant job. There's an awful lot of people in this community that will say that NASA's doing it all wrong, but they're full of people that really want to do the same things. We all want to go to space. It's in our DNA. It's in our DNA of flight here. I did a speech in Barcelona last year, and they had some fantastic preparation for it. What they did was they went out to some local schools, and they asked these school children to draw pictures. These kids were between the ages of 5 and 8, and they said, look, draw some pictures of what future means to you. So a lot of them were very, the incredible clarity of thought that you get from a child. One of the children showed me a picture of future, which was day, night, and that was the future, and it was wonderful. It's going to be a computer program. But 40 to 60% of the pictures that that came in, they had some form of flight, of space flight or flight in them. Whether it was an aircraft, but at least 40% of them had spaceflight pictures. These were pictures of rockets, and these were going to the moon and going to Mars and beyond. These are kids that really have no cognizance of Apollo. They just know they want to go to space. So this is in us. So what we can do is help NASA, and what we can do is we can help this community by bringing people outside of this choir. We all want to go to the people in this room generally, but what is important is to talk to the people that aren't in this room, the people that aren't involved in NASA, the people that aren't earning their money and they're living from this particular industry, and talk to people that we can make to include in what we believe in. And to do that, you have to get some inclusiveness by offering it to them. Now, I was in the Royal Air Force. I did okay, and I went through that, and I did okay as a commercial pilot. But it was just too lofty a dream for me to follow Mike Coates' path and be the inaugural pilot of Discovery. That's just incredible. That's a complete step change of difference. And I didn't even feel inclusive myself. I was a fast jet pilot in the Air Force. I couldn't get that. What is it to the man on the street? Does he really think he's ever going to go to space? Does he ever really think that he's got the opportunity to do that? Well, the paradigm is changing now. You have the opportunity to go. Up until a few years ago, it was going to cost you $20 to $25 million to go to space. Now, it's 1% of the price. Virgin Galactic is saying that for $200,000, you can go to space. And there's people in this room that have bought tickets. I won't embarrass George, but he might be one of them. There's many people that can afford this trip. And they're not just the very rich people. There's people that have mortgaged their houses for this opportunity. And we at Virgin Galactic are absolutely determined to reduce the price of this offering down through 200, down through 100. We'll get it as low as we possibly can. We will continue to innovate to bring our experience in marketing and our experience in making things efficient and reducing those prices. If you reduce the price of this offering from $200,000 to $100,000, you don't just double the number of people who want to do this. It's an exponential trail. Anyway, look, today, if I can coordinate the audio-visual stuff, I'll talk to you a little bit about the experience. So if we can flip to the next slide. If I can even get mine working. Okay. Back. Let's focus on the experience then. This is the what, the technical, the general, and what the experience is all about. And then we'll talk about who's going to be doing it. We'll talk a little about when we're going to be doing it, not with any extreme precision, I'm afraid, and also where we're going to be doing it. But before we start, I think the best thing to do is just review what this is all about, and we can wake ourselves up a little bit by enjoying a video. So if we can just tee up Space as seen by Brian Binney. I'm sure this will be teed up very soon. This is 2004. I think most of you will probably remember the X-Prize flights. And I'm sure it's coming your way very soon.
Good takeoff. The gears on the way up. Okay. And it's up in the video. Got it.
Heading cross check and data check the okay, the heading right now for Whiteside is 033, altitude 25140. We have nearly close to heaven. 70 over the ignition element. 3, 2, 1.
let's hear it for Brian Mee. That's absolutely fantastic, you know. I want to go and do that. You know, that's an awful lot of fun. And the great thing is, because of the work we're doing, then maybe I'm going to get a chance to do that. But I think the important thing here is that a lot of people are going to get to do this as well. Not just me, not just the people with $200,000, but over a period of years, it's going to be much more inclusive. And I think that's the important thing to do, to be able to get people inspired to get into this industry, to provide the support that the NASA absolutely desperately really needs. You know, what we need NASA to be doing is doing all the really, really difficult stuff to do low Earth orbit and beyond. We want to follow, you know, Virgin Galactic wants to follow NASA into low Earth orbit and provide spaceline operations to low Earth orbit. We want to have orbital destinations. We've been talking to Robert Bigelow about the possibility of taking his orbiting hotels and making them Virgin Galactic orbiting hotels. But really, the really difficult things, blazing the path, that's up to NASA. NASA should be doing that. And the way that we'll get support for people like NASA and give them the sort of budgetary requirements they need is to gain some public support. And that's what Virgin Galactic can do, and that's what the personal spaceflight industry can do to help, by making people feel more included in what we're doing. So let's see if I can get this thing going. What we'll do is we'll talk a little about the technology as soon as I can get my computer to talk to me. Okay, so the new Virgin spaceships, they'll be based on Spaceship One, the X Prize winner, a tried and tested prototype now. We have a composite construction, very light and strong, and this allows for large windows. Boeing's doing the same thing now with the Dreamliner. It gives us tremendous advantages. We are pretty much immune to fatigue, but there's other issues we have to look along there. But the main thing is that we can do things an awful lot more efficiently. So we can do things with a different dynamic. We can take an awful lot more payload for a lot less power requirement. We use a two-stage horizontal launch mechanism. So this is the mothership, the White Knight that you saw there in the spaceship. What this does is it affords to us incredible safety. We're immune from any sort of problem with the rocket motor during the first stages of flight. We're carried under traditional aircraft pretty much, although, you know, when we release the White Knight, you'll see it coming soon. It's anything but traditional. But we're employing fairly traditional methods, a winged vehicle, and very, very reliable propulsion systems to an altitude where, when we're released, if the rocket motor fails to function, or the pilot decides that he doesn't want to light that rocket motor, then you just glide back and land. And it's as easy as that. If the rocket motor fails in the first half second, the first 2 or 3 seconds, again, it makes no odds. We just glide back to land at the airbase. That's an incredible advance in technology, and has obviously some advantage over ground-launched rocketry. And ground-launched rocketry can also be safe. There's ways that you can build in escape towers, but you're building in extra weight that, again, you're going to have to haul up into space, and it's not efficient, so maybe the cost dynamics are going to be a little bit different. So we really believe in the air launch system, but it's not the only system around. Fully pressurized cabin, double skin construction. What Bert believes in is us having a pressure suit around the vehicle. He doesn't like pressure suits, and this is something that we absolutely support. We want to work towards a system where, you know, you don't have to wear a pressure suit to go into space. Having said that, the dilemma we have with Virgin Galactic is that if it's the safest thing to do, then that's what we will do, you know, for the early flights. So we are just going to, you know, safety is our guiding star. We're going to do whatever is the safest thing. If the analysis that we get says that you don't need spacesuits, in fact there are dangers with pressure suits, then we will not wear pressure suits. If the analysis says we need to wear pressure suits, then that's something we're going to do. But our go-in attitude to pressure suits is that it must enhance the experience, not detract from it. I think there was a book that someone published, was it Have Spacesuit Will Travel? Fairly famous author. You know, it's not the same as, you know, will travel. You know, having the spacesuit says it all. If you're going to go into space, the public want to dress up as spacemen. If you play cowboys and Indians, you know, you're going to want to be a cowboy or an Indian. You know, what people want to do is they want to look like astronauts. They don't want to go into space in a Nike spacesuit, Nike tracksuit. So, you know, we're going to probably be looking to hold the option of a fantastic pressure suit to take people into space with. We have extremely safe and controllable rocket propellants in the hybrid rocket motor system that we're developing. We have a new fuel formulation, which at this stage is proprietorial, but when we start to release details in the very near future, of Spaceship Two as a system, then we'll get to hear about that. But it's even more efficient and it's even more safe. The beauty of the hybrid system that we're sticking to is that there's pretty much no moving parts, and again, exceptionally safe. We have this unique wing feathering technology courtesy of Burt Rutan, and the guy's an absolute genius. I like most people here, arrived in late last night, having spent the day with the Leonardo da Vinci of the latter day age, and it's just wonderful. You know, the work the guys at Scale Composites are doing in Mojave is just incredible. There's huge items of carbon fibre all over the factory there. In fact, it's bulging now. We're having to look at different places to store all the toolings and the parts of this, and the vehicles are all coming together very well. The feathering technology that he's designed is just beautifully simple, as all fantastic designs are. We're now immune to control malfunction on the way back in from space. You saw Brian Binney there. The only thing he was worrying about was what to play with. For his 5 minutes of zero G, he was taking pictures and throwing his toy around. He knew that once that feather was deployed, then he was coming back from space with no issues whatsoever. Now you have brilliant pilots like Scott Crossfield and guys like Chuck Yeager and the guys that flew all the X-15 flights. They were some of the best pilots you'll ever meet. And Neil Armstrong, I don't know whether probably people in this room do know that he was once flying the X-15 coming back from space, and he got the re-entry attitude just a little bit wrong on what happened as he skipped back off and found it very difficult to make it back to his landing site. We don't have any of those issues at all. I'm never going to be a Neil Armstrong. The pilots that I employ for Virgin Galactic are going to be the best pilots I can absolutely find, but they're going to be doing this day after day after day, not just once every 6 months. So I need this vehicle to be completely predictable and completely safe. What Burt has designed for us here is a way to get back into the Earth's atmosphere where you just sit back and watch it. It's incredible. And then having taken the feather mechanism out, there's an unpowered glide landing. And again, gliding these days is fairly advanced. It's fairly simple as long as you're overhead the field. And we start with a great advantage in starting from over 110 kilometers over the field. Okay, so this will catch up with me. We'll think about it for a bit. There we go. So this is the profile that you just saw, the mothership, and we're sticking to the same profile. The mothership will deliver Spaceship 2 to 50,000 feet. It will be released. The Spaceship 2 pilots, there's now 2 pilots in Spaceship 2. We learn a lot from our airlines around the world, the redundancy that we built in for this. The Spaceship 1 was a fantastic prototype, but we now have to build in safety. I think if there is something that you take away from my speech today, it is the new safety race. This is what's going to be happening. As the chairman of the Personal Spaceflight Foundation, I'm incredibly supportive of all of the different technologies that we have out there and all of the different constructors that are building these ships. And they're doing brilliant things. All of those Federation members. And to be honest with you, I'm not wedded to Spaceship 2. We, as an airline with Virgin Atlantic or Virgin Blue or Virgin Express, Virgin Nigeria and Virgin America coming along now, we like the fact that there is a Boeing, that there's an Airbus. We can choose between the two. It's going to be important in the future that there are other technologies. You don't find many Wright aircraft being flown across the Atlantic now. There are different people, and we need to make sure that there's that innovation around. If any of these other vehicles that come along provide a better experience and it's safer than Spaceship 2, I will go out there and buy it and operate it for Virgin Galactic. At the moment, Spaceship 2 does it for us. Anyway, so what we're doing is we're designing in redundancy and we're designing in extra safety into the vehicle, and the Spaceship 2 now has 2 pilots. The pilots will check out those systems in the brief moments of glide after White Knight 2 has released the spaceship, and then it will light the rocket motor, and as you saw, everything happens in a hurry. We accelerate to over the speed of sound in less than 8 seconds, and then accelerate to almost 4 times the speed of sound in the climb to altitude. And I think you'll agree from the video there, it's going to be an incredible experience. But what we have to do now is translate that experience into something for a test pilot, into something for the public. And that's what we've talked about a little bit about today, about how we do that translation. Up into space, feather the aircraft, return at about 130 50,000 feet, we'll start to really dig into the top parts of the atmosphere, and then by the time we're at 80,000 feet, not very long later, we'll have done all of our deceleration. So that brief period of time means that, again, we don't have the issues for thermal protection system requirements. We don't have to carry that because the heat built up is very quick, and then it goes away very, very quickly. You don't have the heat soak. So it's a wonderfully safe and simple system. Go to the next slide. Cabin design then. The new Virgin spaceships are designed from the inside out. Basically, we start with the Apollos and the previous vehicles that we've had go to space. They weren't designed for the comfort of the passenger. It's a different dynamic now. What we're doing is we're designing this so that it is an incredible experience for the passenger. Not so that it's the cheapest thing to put into space, not that it's the best way of getting there. We designed this for the passenger. So we have an incredible experience designed around the space to optimize the main parts of this experience. And the main parts of this experience are the ability to float around in zero-G and the ability to look back at the planet you've just left. Only 460 odd people have left this planet. Mike amongst them and a few other in this room. In the first year of Virgin Galactic operations, we will fly 500 people to space, doubling the amount of people that have ever been. And what they want to see is exactly what they've accomplished, is the view, that view from space. So, big windows. Also, lots of space to be able to enjoy that zero-G, and we'll show you some of the zero-G training in a little while. Each flight, as we say, carrying 6 pilots and 2 passengers. I'm toying with the idea at the moment of space attendants, but again, that may or may not increase the experience. An aeroplane environment. This is going to be something that you're going to be used to. You get on your aircraft on the way down here, you're used to familiar sights and sounds and feels, and this is again something that we want to replicate inside the experience. But unfortunately, most of the airlines you had on the way down, you didn't have windows in the floor. You'll probably find there are windows at the floor of a spaceship too, because you're going to want to see what's below you. The cabin is going to be fully pressurized at all stages of flight, so you'll feel exactly as if you're on an aircraft. The regulations are safe for Virgin Galactic, and Virgin Galactic policy may stipulate the use of pressure suits, but we don't know yet. The utopia that we're aiming for is a shirt sleeve environment, but still you'll get to dress up and look like an astronaut. It may not be functional. The difference between getting it functional and looking at it is a huge leap. And again, we haven't made that decision at this stage. We need to have a mechanism to allow passengers to leave their seats and experience the weightlessness. Early on, you saw some ideas about tethers to keep people from being able to get back to their seats. This is probably one of the reasons we might look at space attendants, so people are able to float around freely. We've learned very much from the zero-G experiences that Peter Diamandis has put out there. We believe that probably the best thing to do is maybe have someone to help. This has also calmed people with anxiety. Reclining seats to minimise the G-forces. There are high G-forces, 4 to 5G max in certain circumstances, up to 6G. It's very difficult to do this if you sustain this in what's called GZ, where basically the blood will drain away from your head. But if you have it in GX, which means you take it through the chest and you lie down, you can take an awful lot of G in GX. So we've been doing an awful lot of centrifuges. In fact, I've toured the world for the last 6 months and been up to 8G in centrifuges around the world. And we're looking at ways to look at high G and see how we can best prepare our participants for them. We've come up with a fantastic solution to this. Can't tell you all about it just yet, but there's a guy in this room who we're about to sign a piece of paper with, and we have a fantastic experience to bring to the public, and that's going to happen inside the next few months. So, next slide, please. This is the interior of Spaceship 2. As you can see, rather than the 2 passenger seats that we had before, we have the ability to have 6. We can actually get quite a few more people in there, but we believe that 6 is the optimum. Everyone's going to want a window seat in this, having paid this amount of money to go up. So everyone gets lots of windows and be right next to them. As you can see, it's an awful lot bigger than Spaceship 1. Next slide, please. So a little bit about our experience in the Virgin Group. We have 5 airlines around the world. We have train companies, again, around the world. We're in the retail sector, started with music and worked into a number of different retail areas. We're big in the telecoms communication. what the Virgin group of companies is about exciting, fresh, challenging things. We like to move into new markets. We create value for the customer and excellence in our delivery. Just for example, with our airlines, Virgin Atlantic has a new lounge at Heathrow. It spent $28 million on the lounge. It was in a famous magazine recently as one of the coolest places to be on the planet. This is the lounge. We now have people turning up 10 hours early for their flight. It's got a spa. Take your swimming trunks and sit in the jacuzzi, have your hair cut, and it's just an incredible thing. This is what Virgin's about, and this is why people like to fly with Virgin. It's going to be the same reason that you want to come to Spaceport America and come to the Virgin Galactic experience there. It's going to be absolutely incredible. It doesn't matter how good the beach you go to, on your holiday is. If the hotel is trash, then the whole experience is ruined. We have a fantastic experience here. Our beach, as it were, is wonderful, but let's just make sure the hotel lives up to it. So the experience is going to be wrapped in absolute excellence. Okay, next slide, please. And I'll try and push through this. I can talk forever about this. Training. The training is protection against sensory overload. People will not have experienced zero-G before. They will not have experienced high-G before. The accelerations that we have up to 4 times the speed of sound are, again, incredible. Most people haven't been supersonic. And the view is absolutely incredible as well. We want people to be able to take the most away from this. Rather than being bunnies in the headlights, we need to make sure they experience each one of these different parts of the experience day by day over the 3 days. They get used to it, they get to love it, they get to trust it, they know the experience, they know what the environment is, and they can really take the most from the experience when they go. And all through this, they get the 5-star Virgin treatment with the hotel and the resort, and they get to be able to take their partners with them and share this experience. Again, you don't want to go to that beach by yourself, or most people don't. You want to go there with your nearest and dearest, the people that you love, and experience this and share it. So they'll be sharing this experience with their partners. Okay, I'll move quickly on. Next slide. Virgin Galactic Experience, G training. The next. Oh, we got that one. The G training experience. Again, we have. We're going to be. So you probably have to go back one. I'm not quite coordinated here. The G training experience we're going to be providing either with light aircraft. There's a possibility of fast jets that we're going to be moving into. If you want to move into a different realm of the experience, there's either a 3-day or a 7-day experience. And then the centrifuge experience isn't going to be. It's not going to be a torture chamber. I think this is what most people's idea of a centrifuge is. It's going to be completely different. I mean, again, we'll be announcing some ideas about that very, very soon. The next one should be zero-G training. As you can see, this can be an awful lot of fun. This was our team enjoying their work. I mean, my team have, along with me, probably one of the best jobs on the planet. We get to go and try this stuff. And here we are with Peter Diamondo's zero-G experience down in Florida, enjoying this. This is this is part of the experience. We need to train people how they're going to cope in zero-G, so we're going to be providing this experience for them during the training course. Next slide here. The protocols. We need to tell people about the etiquette of space. This is going to be a new thing, maybe something fun to write about. If you go into space and what you want to do is sit in your seat and just look at the majesty of the planet and it be a religious experience for you, maybe it's going to be destroyed by the guy that's spinning like a top, just to your left. So we're going to have to teach people, whether they can use their phone when they're on board and all the rest of this stuff. So we're going to have people join in groups of 6, and here you can see some of our 6 candidates. These are our founders in the top picture here, and we're going to tell them what the etiquette of sitting down in their spaceship is going to be like. We're going to go through flight simulation. We're going to put them in the environment they'll be flying in, and then we're going to train them how to use their equipment and their spacesuit. I'll rush on, otherwise I'm going to go on too long. Next slide. I'll whiz through some of these so you can get to see the latest thing, which is going to be fun. So classroom training, team building. I hope we're on that slide. Looks like we are. Safety training, and then there's the informed consent, which is how the government have stipulated this is all going to be based on. We'll tell people exactly what the risks are. The risks are to this, and make sure that they understand everything. Go through that as part of the formal section of this training. And then the next slide here, we're going to get into the spaceships. So this is the Right Stuff experience. We're going to make people feel like astronauts. So here you are, you're going to be dressed in your spacesuit and get to walk out towards the spaceship, waving to your colleagues and your partners. Take off the runway, climb to altitude, and then there's the spaceflight. It's a 2-hour trip, the spaceflight section. Moving on, quick nice picture of the system, and we'll go straight on through to the next slide. On release, the rocket motor fires, and in the spaceship will accelerate to supersonic speeds in under 10 seconds, and then go into a vertical climb. 4 Gs on launch. Again, an incredible experience. If you go to some of these parks, thrill-ride parks, you can just have that accelerator. There's a G sled. Again, we took the team to see what it was going to be like. All of these parts of the experience are incredibly good fun in themselves. The supersonic ride, the 90 seconds of the rocket burn, and the max altitude will be at least 100 kilometers, although I'm probably going to keep it standard so everyone goes to the same altitude. Doesn't matter whether you're big, small, whatever. I will tune the vehicle so every single time it will go to 110 kilometers so we can get the same experience. Next slide, a nice picture of a serious amount of afterburner on Rocket Motor 1. Okay, next slide. The Virgin Galactic experience, the flight. It's all about the acceleration of the acceleration, the Earth view, floating free in 0G, the absolute silence of space. This is really important, very important for Burt Rutan as well. To really appreciate this, when that rocket motor switches off, there are no systems in this spaceship which require you to put out any noise. You can hear, in fact, if you listen carefully and replay these videos, that the RCS, the reaction control system, puffing the jets to turn the vehicle the right way up. That's beautiful, so we have to be able to appreciate that. The thrill of the re-entry, we collect the views for you. Listen while you float. If you choose not to enjoy the wireless, then maybe your pressure suit's going to have earphones in them where you can listen to Strauss or Van Halen, whatever your thing, or talk to your partner, communicate with them on the ground, or listen into the pilots. Wings feather to allow gentle re-entry. Next slide, I really have to run through this. Spaceship wings configure at 80,000 feet, then we re-enter, glide home, landing recovery, party, big party, Virgin are big on parties. Okay, bring some aspirin if you come to one of our parties. We have a good time. Astronauts receive their wings if they're still standing. The flight concept. I'm going to pretty much finish with here. There is one video. We've put this together. This is what the flight is going to be like for you if you buy your Virgin Galactic flight and come with it. So if we can run the next video, that would be great. And then I'll invite questions. Sorry, I'm overrunning.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to space. The captain has now turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. You are now free to float around the cabin as you wish. flight control for re-entry. Please return to your seats. Commencing feathering sequence. Galactic.
I love the way it makes everyone smile. You know, the first one's the shock and awe, and then this one's the, you know, I can really go. You know, and you know, it's something that you can take part in yourself, and I think that's the big message. It's the inclusivity. That's what's going to make this industry flourish. So next slide, Spaceport America is now the world facility. I was told by Richard Branson when I sat down on his island, Alex, go and make a new wonder of the world. So we've got our work cut out for us, but thankfully the people of New Mexico are stepping up to the plate. $200 million that they voted through. And you know, that vote, you know, people, you know, our detractors in this industry said, oh, you know, you almost lost that. We started on the basis that we asked the person, do you want to increase your taxes? It's never going to start from an easy place there, but they were very brave and they voted to tax themselves to bring a new future to New Mexico, so well done. Our headquarters of operations, we're going to follow up and base our headquarters of operations there, and our Virgin Galactic HQ will be in New Mexico. Moving on, Brett wanted to have this next slide. I'll give you exact dates. Oh, sorry, the exact dates aren't there. Test flights start next year. The test flying will last between 12 and 18 months. I'm not going to tell you when you'll first fly because I'm going to maintain the maximum of safety is our guiding star. We will fly when we're ready. If the test flight goes really, really well and it only takes 12 months, then we might be flying in late 2009. If there is a problem that we hit and we have to redesign, we will redesign. We're not just going to fly it until it's ready. So I can't tell you when it's flying, but maybe between 2009, mid-2010 is the time frame. Initial operation is likely to be in Mojave. We'll move to Spaceport America as soon as it's ready. Next slide. It's our team. We are probably some of the luckiest guys on the planet, having a great time. And some of our customers, they actually don't want this to start. We take our clients to NECA and we show them great times. One of our clients said to me, I don't want to ever start flights. I'm having such a good time just training. So anyway, we'll see. We'll be starting soon. So last slide, Virgin Galactic, coming to a spaceport near you soon. That's all I've got. Thank you.
I think we have time for just about one question, so if somebody would like to come to the microphone back there.
Good morning. And from the bottom of my heart, and I believe from the bottom of all our hearts, thank you for what you're doing. And the next time you see Richard Branson, please kiss his foot for me.
He makes us do that.
I appreciate your words about safety, and I take you at your word that you are doing everything you can to make it as safe as possible. The history of atmospheric flight, however, teaches us that sooner or later, and probably sooner, given an infinite industry, there will be a smoking crater. And the American people these days, unfortunately, have become so risk-averse that they are, many of them, not only unwilling to take risks themselves, but unwilling to allow other people of their own free will to take risks. And so, when this happens, I guess this is a two-part question. When it happens, what do we need to do? But more importantly, what do we need to do as a society, as a movement, to make sure that when this happens, we aren't derailed?
Thank you for your question. It's probably the most important question that we are posed with as an industry, the Personal Spaceflight Federation industry. The wonderful thing is that it's going on here in America, and the President signed into law an act called the 2004 Commercial Space Launch Amendments Act. And what that said was that it should facilitate this. It directed the Department of Transportation to facilitate this, and that was very controversial. You should be ensuring safety. No, go facilitate it. But on the maxim that what you do is you provide informed consent. If you buy this offering, I need to tell you how risky that is. So it's up to you, the American consumer, the worldwide consumer, to decide exactly whether you want to take that risk or not. So what we need to do as an industry is make sure that we abide by the letter of the law and we provide that informed consent to the best of our possible endeavours. We tell them exactly what the safety of our vehicles are. If someone wants to go up on a spaceship where the chances of catastrophic failure are 1 in 100, I'd go in a heartbeat. But some people won't. Some people, would I go 100 times? Maybe not. No, I don't know. I can do my math. If you provide informed consent that says, here you go, 1 in 100, you choose. That's up to you. But make sure that that information is correct. And we in the industry must make sure that information is correct. Because we have to prepare for our day in court. We will be standing there, as the gentleman rightly says. God
You
forbid.
didn't tell us anything about the Mojave Lounge.
I will be soon. 1 second, sir. So, God forbid it happens on the first flight, and hopefully it's many, many years out. But we have to prepare, and I've given this direction with the rest of the board to Brett Alexander, the president of the Personal Spaceflight Federation, to prepare this industry for that day. And what we will be doing is making sure that we abide by the legislative, we have the right path through litigation and insurance, we know what the liability paths are, so we can stand there and defend ourselves. If we can defend ourselves against that first lawsuit, and we are not sued and lose our investment, then we will be fine. But it's that preparation, and that's what we're doing right now, and that's what Brett's in charge of.
If I could just follow up briefly. In the meanwhile, what would you like the rest of us to be doing? Would you like us to be talking about this?
Oh no, certainly. That's what we need to be doing. I mean, you need to be encouraging not just the Virgin Galactics and not just the scale composites, having the brilliant people go and work there and buying our offerings, but also the rocket plane kisslers, also the armadillos, also the Blue Origins. They all need our support. This is a huge market. I say only fly 50,000 people in the first 10 years. That sounds like, we need to get brave with our thinking here. There are 8 million millionaires on the planet. Once we prove this is safe, they're all going to want to go, especially if you wrap it with the Virgin Lounge experience that I've been talking about. There are 36,000 new millionaires every year. I can't even fly, I can't fly the new people. We need to have more people coming into the industry. We need to understand the opportunities and the risks, and then go fly. Thank you very much.
Alex, thank you so much. It's fantastic to have you here, and I'm sure that people will, during lunch, want to ask questions to Alex.